Hey guys, so I finally just got back from seeing Interstellar. I know it's been a few days, and this movie's been out for a few days. Um, by the time I actually post this, I will be posting my Big Hero 6 review. I did that like this past Saturday, and it's Wednesday. So I'm sorry it took me this long to fucking finally go see this movie, but it's one of those movies that, with it being 3 hours, you gotta kind of give a lot of your day up to going to the theater to see this movie because it is 3 hours. And I had to work very early all week, like at 4 a.m. and I wanted to get a nap and before I watched this movie because I didn't want to fall asleep. And it doesn't matter how good the movie is, I'll still probably fall asleep even if I have zero, especially if I have 0 hours of sleep. This is a movie that I was looking forward to going in. I really like Christopher Nolan as a director. I've enjoyed everything he's done. I like a lot of people. I didn't really take notice of him until the Batman movies. And I've seen like a lot of his other works, like Insomnia. I've never seen Memento. I know a lot of people are gonna give me shit for that, but I still haven't seen that movie. It's the only one of his I haven't seen. I've seen Insomnia. I've seen all the Batman movies. I've seen The Prestige. Of course, seen Inception. So I've enjoyed like every one of his films up to this point. And he's one of those directors that doesn't matter what kind of movie he's making. If his name's attached to it, if he's directing it, I'm seeing it because I like his style of filmmaking. I want to support anything he does because I really like his films up to this point. It also was starring Matt McConaughey, a guy who, up until a few years ago, I hated him. If you don't know, I've talked about him before, but I used to really dislike him as an actor. But now my my opinion of him has completely changed over the years. Especially since that he's now not doing romantic comedies. He's actually going back to being a really good actor, to the point that I like a lot of people almost forgot he was a really good actor. He just was stuck in a lot of shitty romantic comedies. So I was like, all right, Matt McConaughey is in a Christopher Nolan movie, all right, and it's a space epic for Matt McConaughey's going for a wormhole. Okay, why the fuck not? I was like, this should be interesting. This movie has been getting very divisive reviews. I've heard some people that like it and some people that hate it. So I was like, well, I have to put my 2 cents in. I have to throw my hat into this because I want to see what I want to see whether I like this movie or not. I kind of was going in thinking that I was gonna like it one way or another. And you know what? This movie, when I was walking out of it, I was going, I don't know what the fuck to think about this movie. Like, at first I was like, I don't know what the fuck to think about this movie. But as I was sitting there thinking about it more and more and more, I was like, you know what? I did like this movie. I did. I really did. There are a lot of good things about it, in my opinion, that really worked for me. This movie is not perfect by any means necessary, but this is it has a lot of glaring problems. But I'll get into that in a minute. But this movie is really good. I enjoyed it. I didn't regret seeing this one bit. Matt McConaughey is amazing in this movie. He carries this film. His charm and his charisma fucking just carry this, like, the acting, especially in this movie. He is the best part, like, in the acting department, in my opinion. I like the scenes where he's talking about his charm and charisma. I like his scenes where he's having conversations with the robots that are on board the spaceship. Like, including him just calling them slick is pretty fucking funny to me. It just seems like the Matt McConaughey would do. It's like when I saw Gravity, I was like, well, it's if George Clooney was an astronaut, that's This is, his character was basically, in Gravity was basically if George Clooney was an astronaut. This is if Matt McConaughey were an astronaut. I imagine this is how he would be acting in these situations. And he is, when he needs to be serious, he is really good in this movie. Like, one of the most heartbreaking scenes is the scene where it's been 23 years since he's been up in space, and he has been getting messages from his kids, and he finally plays back 23 years worth of messages from his kids, to where he sees his son grow up and graduate college and get married and then have a baby. And then at the final message he sends him, he tells him that he is not going to talk to him anymore because he don't think he's ever coming back. It's really heartbreaking. His acting in that scene is really good. Also, there's a lot of surprises as to who is actually in this movie. Of course, Matt McConaughey is in this movie, Anne Hathaway, who's been in trailers and stuff. She's good in this movie. I'll talk about her a little bit more. Michael Caine, of course, is awesome, as always. He's Michael Caine. Who else? Then you get fucking people like fucking Topher Grace is in this movie. I'm sure not a lot of people knew that. I didn't. Like, what the fuck? He just pops up out of nowhere. I'm like one scene, he just walks by and I'm like, is that fucking Topher Grace? It's like, what the fuck? Like, alright, he's in this movie? Alright, fine, whatever. He's barely in this, but, like, he was alright. Casey Affleck plays the older version of Matt McConaughey's son, which was really surprising because I was like, wow. I was like, at first when they showed the older version of his son, I was like, is that Casey Affleck? I was like, yep, that is. That definitely is Casey Affleck. I was like, wow. I was actually generally surprised by that. And Jessica Chastain plays the older version of Matt McConaughey's daughter, which I didn't know what role she was playing, and like I almost forgot she was actually in this movie. I'm like, oh, Jessica Chastain's in this movie. All right, fuck yeah, I can get behind that. And then also an hour and a half into this movie, Matt Damon shows up. The fuck? Like, I was like, Matt, what the fuck? Matt Damon's in this movie? Like, what the fuck? And like, that kind of got me a little pissed off. I'm like, he's nowhere in the trailers or the posters or even in the fucking any of the promotional shit for this movie. Like, he's a big name actor. Like, I did not know he was in this movie. I'm sure a lot of people don't know he's in this movie. And he is pretty good in this movie. Like, when he has a pretty big role towards the end of this movie. In the middle of this movie, he has a pretty big role. So he's not just like in a cameo or anything. He is in significant scenes in this movie. The movie is first and foremost a very well fucking made movie. This movie is stunning on like every fucking level, on a technical level and on a visual level. This movie is amazing. It's really well made. The visual effects are stunning. I don't think anybody will bitch about the visual effects in this movie. If there's anything that nobody will bitch about, it's the visual effects. Like, Nolan, first and foremost, knows when to let a moment sit. Like, some of the best scenes in this movie, like, are just overhead shots or panning shots of different stuff. Like, one of my favorite scenes is that scene where they're just showing a spaceship going around the rings of Saturn. I'm just sitting there like, this is beautiful as fuck. I'm just sitting there like, my jaw agape, like, this is amazing. Like, this movie looks incredible. Like, how I was just sitting there on a technical, or like as a fan of film, just sitting there in awe by some of the visual effects in this movie. Also, like, the shots of the landscape on the frozen planet were amazing. Some of the stuff with the black hole is amazing looking, and also the fucking wormhole looked amazing. There's some really trippy shit in this movie. Like, this movie would be awesome to watch while on drugs. It would. It seriously would. Like, the visual effects would fucking blow your mind while you're on drugs. It blew my mind even being fucking sober. Also, I love even the fucking sound and sound design in this movie was amazing. Like, you know, there was a lot of moments just there was no sound whatsoever. That was amazing. Like, you know, portraying space as, you know, in space there is no sound. There is no sound, and there are moments where there is no sound at all. All you hear is like maybe the characters talking, and that's about it. There's nothing, like you just hear nothingness in the background other than the characters talking, and it's really cool and kind of creepy. I like that. At least they, you know, didn't go the route of like making a lot of loud sound effects and try to be as accurate as possible with the fact that there is no sound in space. Also, the soundtrack of this movie is amazing, of course. It's Hans Zimmer. He did make the, yeah, I was like, at first I was like, did he make the score for this? I'm like, I was like, there's no way it's not Hans Zimmer, because he, like, it sounds like a Hans Zimmer, score, and the score is amazing in this movie. Yeah, like, that guy can make some really, like, he can make really amazing scores for very intense scenes, and like he does especially towards the end of this movie, or the score is amazing. It, like, really, really good. I don't know where the fuck this guy came from, but this guy's amazing, like, as a conductor, musical composer, I mean. Now I guess let's, you know, honestly, those are the big, you know, things I really liked about this movie. Now I guess I should get into the problems with this movie. One, there are glaring problems with it. Like I said, there are a lot of glaring problems. One, characters make some really stupid fucking decisions in this movie. Really fucking stupid decisions. One that comes to mind, and it is probably the biggest stupid decision in this whole movie, was, okay, they finally get through the wormhole. And the reason they're going through the wormhole is that there's these different planets in this different galaxy that is in this wormhole. And the plan is they're going to go to each of these planets to see if they're habitable for humans to live. And they have to choose which planets they're going to go on first. They decide to go on the planet, the planet they first decide to go on. They know in advance that if they go on it, and they spend more, like, every hour they spend on that planet, 7 years will go by. Like, you're sitting there, like, they explain that because of it's really fucking hard to explain, but every hour they spend on that planet, like I said, 7 years will go by in Earth. Like, on Earth, basically, 7 years will go by on Earth. And because of that, you think, maybe that's not a good idea to go on that planet. You think, maybe that's not a good idea to go on that planet first. Maybe we should check out the other planets, you know? No, they decided to go on that one, and guess what? They end up staying on there for what ends up being 23 years. And they waste so much fucking time. And what do they find when they go down there? It's fucking Waterworld. It's fucking Waterworld, basically. It's just a whole planet full of water that is not habitable at all. And they almost die. And also Anne Hathaway almost fucking kills them all. Actually, it's all Anne Hathaway's fault. That's another problem I have with this movie. Anne Hathaway's character makes some really fucking stupid decisions throughout this movie. She's one of the biggest, she's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of these bad shit happens to them. Yeah, she decides, I gotta save, all the information. I gotta go get the information that is on this planet, about this planet. And they're like, no, fucking get back on this ship right now, because there's this huge 100-foot tidal wave coming towards them. No, she has to go fucking get the information on this planet, and because of this, they end up being stranded on the planet for a while because of her, and because of that, 23 years go by, and I'm sitting there like, she says, "Oh, well, you're all concerned about just going back to your kids." Well, yeah, I'm just sitting there like, because that's all Matt McConaughey is doing this for, is for his kids. And obviously he wants to see his kids before they fucking die. And of course, she has a dad who is Michael Caine, who's, you know, pretty old by the beginning of this movie, and, you know, I'm sure she wants to see him too, so fuck you. Before he dies. What the fuck? Stupid. Like, and of course, when they go on the other planets, they're on the other planets for like hours and hours, and like 23 years don't go by because of them being on those planets for hours and hours. So if they would have so the whole point is, if they would have just gone to the other planets first and not gone on that one, they wouldn't have like been gone for that long span of time. Way to go, Anne Hathaway. Fuck you. And again, honestly, it wouldn't have been her. Fuck it. It's fuck it. That drove me nuts. I'm sitting there like, so this whole movie could, like, a lot of the problems in this movie could have been avoided if they just wouldn't have fucking been on that planet first. And then this movie, I'm trying to. Also, a lot of the characters in this movie are really fucking big assholes too. Like, everybody just turns on each other like halfway for this movie. Matt Damon ends up being a really despicable guy. Honestly, the only person in this movie that isn't a despicable person is really Matt McConaughey. He actually is the only person that actually seems like a decent person. And all the rest of them seem like complete pricks. They do some really awful things to each other in this movie. It's really hard to explain. I don't want to get into spoilers. But if you see the movie, you would understand why. Like I said, Matt Damon's a good example. He turns out to be a real fucking prick. Also, what Michael Caine, the twist that Michael Caine reveals halfway through the movie is really fucking what Michael Caine reveals Jessica Chastain halfway through the movie is really fucking awful. Easily turns Michael Caine from like this really likable guy to a real complete prick. Like, it's like, it's really hard to explain without getting the spoilers, because there's something he reveals halfway through the movie. Also, damn it, what is the other thing that drove me nuts about this movie? It's escaping me right now. Oh, the ending. Let's talk about the ending for a second. The ending is a little corny. It is a little fucking corny. I'm not getting into spoilers, but let's just say this. If you ever seen the movie Contact, you remember that scene, or what the big twist at the end of the movie was, is that the person that was the thing that was trying to contact Jodie Foster wasn't an alien, it was her dead father. Well, this movie has an ending that's similar to that, but a little different. It's similar in pretty much the concept of it. It is very similar, and it is kind of corny, about as corny as that ending was. Even though it does lead into some really trippy shit. There's like, it is kind of funny. I recommend, if you ever want to get a good laugh, go read the Wikipedia page trying to explain the ending of this movie. It's pretty fucking funny. It is really funny. But let's just say, I'm not like, at the beginning of this movie, you're told, or the little girl, Matt McConaughey's little girl, keeps saying that she has a ghost in her room that's trying to send her messages. Well, basically the ending of this movie explains what that ghost was, and it is kind of fucking corny. It is really corny. And also, how this movie throws in a very felt like forced happy ending that really made no sense. Like, if you really want to put logic into some things, honestly, you're like, there's no way that a certain character should have survived this. But whatever. Anyways, again, that's just one of those movies I don't want to spoil. Like, I don't want to go into too much detail because if I did, I would be spoiling it. Also, apparently, according to this movie, and this I've heard a lot of people bitch about this too. Apparently, according to this movie begins in a futuristic world where schools are teaching from textbooks that are telling kids that the moon landing wasn't real. What? What? What the fuck? And that the moon landing wasn't real, and that it was just a government secret way of trying to bankrupt the Soviet Union. Okay. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of problems with that theory. One, the Soviet Union didn't go bankrupt right after their attempts to go on the moon landing. It took a good amount of, like, 20 years before they actually went bankrupt. So that theory kind of goes fucking nowhere. It makes no fucking sense. What the fuck? That was so stupid. I was like, what the... That was really stupid. And Matt McConaughey, like, the teacher explains that to Matt McConaughey, and his daughter tries to... a teacher tries to explain that Matt McConaughey, and Matt McConaughey puts it right in her fucking place. I'm like, good for you, man. Anyways, yeah, I liked this movie. It was fun. It was not a movie I regretted watching. Honestly, it kept my interest for all 3 hours, or like almost 3 hours that I was sitting there. I wasn't bored at all. It kept my interest, like, even with, like, the weird twists and turns that were happening. I'm like, well, I wonder where the fuck this movie's going. Like, I kept wondering where this movie was going, and it went a lot of... It didn't go predictable places. Too many predictable places, I'll give them that. As far as trailers, every trailer I got was all new. So let's try to get through these as quickly as possible. The Gambler, which is... This looks actually pretty good. It's Mark Wahlberg plays a guy that's, has a gambling problem that basically owes people like very corrupt people like John Goodman, a bald John Goodman, a lot of money, and they're all almost out to get him and kill him, which looks kind of awesome. It does look awesome. It looks like it's got a lot of really good actors in it. Selma, which is a Martin Luther King biopic. All right, I can get behind that. It's not really many recognizable actors other than I saw Cuba Gooding Jr. somewhere in there. The new trailer for Exodus: Gods and Kings. I've already talked about this. There wasn't really anything else new shown. It was just, it was pretty much the same trailer, but like a little different. I'm still wondering, like, it's all white actors playing Egyptians. It's a little distracting, especially the guy who's playing Ramses. Joel Edgerton's playing Ramses. That's still very distracting. Chappie, which is the new movie from the guy who made District 9. That could be... I like District 9. I did like District 9 a lot. I thought Elysium was alright. This looks like it could be really unintentionally funny. There's some really unintentionally funny moments about it. It's about a robot that's trying, like a super intelligent robot that's trying to blend in with humans, and it looks unintentionally funny, honestly. It might be a pretty bad movie. It could be good, but I don't know. Sorry. I got the new trailer for The Hobbit, The Battle of the damn, sorry. My God. The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. This is more of a big... it's not a teaser trailer. It's actually a theatrical trailer, longer trailer. That it does look good. I'm glad the fucking Hobbit's gonna finally be over. The Lord of the Rings movies are gonna be over. I'm glad. I'm one of the few that actually is really glad these movies are gonna be over after December. Furious 7, which is the new Fast and Furious movie. Looks great. The trailer showed a lot of Jason Statham, a lot of Kurt Russell, and of course a lot of Paul Walker, which is kind of sad. Like, the final shot in the trailer was Paul Walker, conveniently. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm fuck. All right, this should just tell you all you need to know about the fucking new Fast and Furious. The new what the fuck? That is a little too fucking absurd. Moment is that they throw their cars out of planes, or like basically jump their cars out of a plane, and land on the ground via parachute. That is really absurd. That was really absurd. But I was like, fuck it. This is a series that, last movie they pulled down a plane with their cars, so a cargo plane with their cars, and raced a tank. That was fucking. I mean, you can't get really more absurd than that. I got a new trailer, sort of trailer for the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. Looking forward to that. There's not much more else I could say about that. And I got a trailer for Big Eyes, the new Tim Burton movie that's not starring Johnny Depp. Yay! Maybe, and this looks like this is going to be a different movie for Tim Burton. I like when he does something different every so often. And he's a guy that needs to do more things that are a lot different than what he usually does. This looks interesting. It's about it's Christoph Waltz and Amy Adams, based I think a true story about a girl who kept making these paintings of these people with these big eyes, these really fucking creepy paintings, by the way. And her husband ends up taking the credit because this is I think it's in the 60s where they don't recognize female painters, so he takes all the credit even though she paints all of them, and he makes a lot of money, and he gives her part of the money, but he's getting all the fame, basically. It's one of those. It looks alright. It does look alright. Again, I hope this is Tim Burton doing something different other than a Johnny Depp movie. Thank God. Anyways, I'm gonna get off here. I'll be back to, I'm sitting here the last 3-4 weeks I've seen some really good movies. What's this week? Dumb and Dumber 2. Fuck! Yep, this week's Dumb and Dumber 2. I have a feeling my streak of seeing good movies is about to end. I'm hoping this is really good. I'm hoping this movie surprises the fuck out of me. I'm going in hoping, crossing my fingers, that this movie is going to be good. Alright, until then, I'll see you guys later.